Hi there, I'm Seattle attorney Stephanie Dorn. My practice focuses on helping people clear their criminal records through a process of vacating, expunging, and sometimes even sealing. I have enlisted the help of a colleague to ask me some frequently asked questions I get about criminal records. So without further ado.
Thank you. What does it mean to expunge a record?
So expungement is a term that people oftentimes use generally for just kind of cleaning up or taking care of a record. But there are actually different words that mean different things depending on what your particular need is for your record. For example, if someone was arrested, but then nothing ever came of it in terms of a conviction, or you got a deal that didn't result in a conviction, you may not have a conviction on your record, but you still have the arrest on your record. And so the process then would be to expunge the arrest with Washington State Patrol. Someone who has been, let's say, convicted of a theft and is having a hard time getting job opportunities because of that conviction. The process in that case would be a motion to vacate. Vacating refers to the conviction itself in the courts, while as expungement generally refers to the arrest record. However, people do tend to use all the words interchangeably, which is a lot of the source of the confusion.
What are the benefits of doing this process?
So the legislature just in 2019 changed the law to make more people eligible to vacate their cases, and they also clarified the specific benefits of vacating a criminal conviction. The law and the orders specifically state now that once this vacate order has been processed, you can say for all purposes, including housing and employment, that you have not been convicted of a crime. Once the conviction has been vacated, it gets sent off to Washington State Patrol, and they are the repository of records, or the record holders, and then they disseminate that to the FBI in order to have them update their official records as well. So it can open a lot of doors for people in terms of employment. I've had clients do it when they're having a hard time traveling because of visas or other potential immigration issues. Oftentimes people will consider vacating their record for employment, school, and then just general ready to move past things reasons.
How long does this process take?
It depends. I have gotten things through in as quick as a month, and I have had clerks and judges that sit on my motions for a period of time, and then I follow up 8 times. And there's certain elements in terms of the timing that are a little bit outside my control, but I try and get all the work on my end done in as efficient of a time frame as possible. Once it's off to the courts, it can take a week or so to get a hearing set, and then that hearing sometimes can be a month out. And then the processing time, once it has been granted, is generally about a month to get it all updated with the FBI. I'd say overall the process takes maybe 2 to 4 months, 3 to 4 to be conservative.
Do I have to be there for this to happen?
So the good thing about these records and expunging and vacating is that it is largely a paperwork process and something that I can do on your behalf. So once I get the information from you, I start by preparing paperwork and then pulling the records that I need in order to prepare that paperwork. And then I send it over to you for review and signature. And then I get going on filing it with the court, seeing if I can get the prosecutor to do it via agreement. Oftentimes on these cases, vacating and expunging, there isn't even a hearing. I'm able to just get it handled via an agreement of the parties. Sometimes there is a court hearing. Lately, they have been over Zoom, if they happen at all. They're generally not terribly contentious, and you do not need to be present for them. I handle everything.
Does this apply to only simple, small cases? What if I have a more serious case or a felony?
Oh, you can absolutely vacate more serious cases. You can vacate felonies. There are a number of cases that you can vacate. The legislature has recently, in that legislation that passed in 2019, opened the doors to a lot more different case types. People that have DUIs that have been amended down to, for example, reckless or negligent driving are eligible to vacate after a period of time. People that have even been convicted of nonviolent felonies in the first degree, like first degree theft, second degree theft, those can be vacated as well. The court does have some restrictions when it comes to certain child sex cases and some other specific things, but I would advise calling me to see if your matter qualifies.
What if I got arrested and want to get it taken care of right away? How long do I have to wait for this to happen?
So assuming you were arrested and nothing ever came from it, either no charges were filed or they filed charges and dismissed it, you can expunge your arrest with Washington State Patrol either 3 years after the date of violation or 2 years from the date that it became non-conviction data. So if it got filed in court and then the next morning and they heard it and said, we're not processing this, we're dismissing this, or we're not gonna go forward with this, and then it would be 2 years from that date or 3 years from the date that it happened, whichever is sooner.
What if I still owe money or fines?
On a case that you are trying to vacate, if you still owe money or fines, the court has, again, that change in law in 2019 opened a lot of flexibility. And not only are we able to potentially backdate payments, but we're also oftentimes able to negotiate away the fines. For example, I had a client with something like $30,000 in remaining restitution, but $27,000 of it was interest, and the court was willing to waive all of that interest payment. So I feel like right now the courts are trying to help people out, trying to do favors for people, especially people that have really done everything they need to do, maybe have one blemish on their record and have otherwise stayed out of trouble.
When should I hire a lawyer to help me with this process?
When you think you may have a potential issue. I offer free consultations, so you can give me a call and I can kind of ask you some general questions about your case to see whether or not it's something that may be eligible to either vacate or expunge. If it gets real kind of in depth or there are records that I need to pull in order to advise, sometimes I do charge an in-depth consultation fee, but most consultations on simple matters can be done just over the phone and free, and I can let you know whether or not you likely will qualify, what any potential issues might be, and what our plan will be for that.
How much does it cost if I want to go forward?
So I offer reasonable flat rates. I don't do hourly billing. You don't get any surprise bills in the mail or anything like that. I have my basic flat rate for vacating, which is low and flat. I do consider certain issues in terms of if a case is more complex or if I will likely have to travel. But overall, once I've had the opportunity to evaluate the potential issue and our solution, I'm able to provide you a quote over the phone or through email that will be the full amount due. And I do strive to keep my fees reasonable.
If I'm not in this state anymore, is that a problem?
Nope, no problem at all. I've done this with clients that are even international. I can do it paperwork in the mail. I can do paperwork via the email. You do not need to appear for your hearing. You essentially just hire me to handle it, and then I take it from there. Any more questions?
No, I think you've answered all my questions. Thank you.
Great. Well, I hope that this little FAQ was helpful. I'll thank my friend for helping me out with the questions on this. Please feel free to call me if you have any questions, 206-931-1315, or you can email at Stephanie@attorneydorn.com. Thank you.